Another Reddit story from Ryan Rivers. Let's go.
I think I messed up a family, and I don't know how to live with it. I met her at work, new hire, sat a couple desks over. First thing I noticed was she was easy to talk to, not awkward like most people there. She had a ring. I saw it day one. At first, it was normal. Work stuff, complaining about our manager, joking about how everything was always urgent. One day, I microwaved my lunch and it smelled terrible. She made a face and said, "Wow, what died?" I was like, "Probably me." She laughed, like actually laughed. After that, we started talking more, every day, just small stuff. Then it turned into longer conversations, then texting after work. Nothing weird at first, just memes, random stuff. She mentioned her husband a few times, not a lot. Mostly like, "I gotta go, we're having dinner," or "My kid needs help with homework." Her son is 13. That should have been enough for me to stay out of it, but I didn't. One evening, we both stayed late. Not even for work, just didn't leave. Office was empty. We were sitting there talking about random stuff. She said, "I don't really like going home when it's like this." I asked, "Like what?" She shrugged. "Just tense. We argue a lot." I didn't ask more. I should have changed the subject. Instead, I stayed there, listening. Later, we walked out together. Parking lot was empty. We stood there by her car, still talking. It got quiet for a second. Not awkward, just different. She looked at me and said, "You're easy to be around." I kinda laughed it off. Yeah, I try. But inside, I was like, this is getting bad. After that, it picked up. She'd sit closer to me at work, lean over my desk instead of just talking from hers, text me more, like good morning texts. Not every day, but enough. I asked about her husband again one time, tried to sound casual. She said, "We're just not good lately." That was it, but it was enough. A few days later, she came in looking off, quiet, not herself. I asked, "You okay?" She said, "Not really." We went to grab coffee, sat in her car again. She told me they had a big fight. Yelling, doors, all that. Then she said, "I feel like I can't talk to him about anything." I didn't even think. I just said, "You can talk to me." As soon as I said it, I knew. That line doesn't lead anywhere good. She didn't say anything back, just looked at me for a second. And that was the moment everything changed. After that day, it stopped feeling like just coworkers. It wasn't instant, but it got closer, faster than it should have. She started texting me more, not just random stuff, like, "Are you awake?" at 11 p.m., or "Work is gonna suck tomorrow, first thing in the morning." I'd tell myself it's nothing. People text, it's normal. But it didn't feel normal. At work, she'd come over to my desk even when she didn't need anything, just stand there, leaning on it. One time, she brushed something off my shirt. There was nothing there. I remember thinking, okay, yeah, this is happening. I should have backed off, kept distance, acted busy. I didn't. One night, she texted me, "Can I call you?" I stared at it for a minute. Then I said, "Yeah." She sounded upset. Not crying, but close. "Can you just talk to me for a bit?" she said. So I did. We talked for like an hour, about nothing important, just random stuff. But it felt different, like we crossed something. After that, calling became a thing. Then, one day at work, she said, "Hey, wanna grab a drink after?" I paused for a second. I knew what that meant. Still said yes. We went to some random bar, nothing fancy, sat next to each other, not across. At first it was normal, work jokes, complaining. Then it got quieter. She was playing with her glass, not really looking at me. I said, "You okay?" She goes, "I shouldn't be here." I kinda laughed. Yeah, probably not. She looked at me and said, "But I didn't want to go home." That hit weird. We sat there for a bit, no one talking. Then she said, really quiet, "This is a bad idea, right?" I said, "Yeah." Neither of us moved. A few minutes later, she put her hand on mine, just like that. No buildup, no warning. I didn't pull away. That was the exact moment I could have stopped everything. I didn't. We stayed there longer than we should have, talking, but not really saying anything important. When we left, it was awkward for like 2 seconds. Then, in the parking lot, she hugged me. But it wasn't a normal hug. She didn't let go right away. I could feel her breathing, fast. She pulled back, looked at me, and just said, "I'm sorry." And before I could even think, I kissed her. Like an idiot, like I didn't already know what this would turn into. She kissed me back, no hesitation. And that's how it started. After that night, there was no pretending anymore. The next day at work was weird. Not in a bad way, just different. We didn't talk much in the morning, just quick looks, small smiles. Around lunch, she texted me, even though we were like 10 feet apart. "Are we gonna talk about last night or just act normal?" I stared at it for a while. I typed, deleted, typed again. Finally sent. "I don't know." She replied, "Yeah, same." That should have been the end of it, just awkward and done. It wasn't. A couple days later, we stayed late again. Not planned, it just happened. We were the last ones there, again. She was standing by my desk, quiet. I said, "We probably shouldn't do this." She nodded. "I know." Neither of us moved. Then she said, "I haven't felt like this in a long time." That was it. That sentence. I didn't even think. I just kissed her again. And this time, it didn't stop at a kiss. After that, it turned into a routine. Not every day, but enough. Late nights at work, her car, sometimes a cheap hotel once or twice when we had meetings. I hated myself every time after. Like, I'd sit there thinking, what am I doing? She has a kid, a whole life. But then she'd text me and I'd forget all that. One time I asked, "What are we doing?" She said, "I don't know. I just know I don't want to stop." That should have scared me. It didn't. It got messy, fast. She started telling me more about her husband, how they barely talk, how everything turns into an argument. I started convincing myself it wasn't that bad. Like, their marriage was already broken or something. I needed that to feel less like a piece of crap. One night after we were together, she just sat there, quiet. I said, "What's wrong?" She goes, "I feel guilty." I didn't even know what to say to that, so I said, "Yeah, me too." We both just sat there in silence. Then she said, "But I don't want to stop seeing you." And I said, "Me neither." That's the part that messes with me the most. We both knew it was wrong. No confusion, no excuses, and we still kept going. Weeks turned into months. It stopped feeling like some secret fling and more like something real. At least, that's what I told myself. But there were moments that hit me. Like when she'd suddenly check her phone and go, "I gotta go. He's asking where I am." Or when she'd say, "My son has a game this weekend," and I'd just sit there like, what am I doing? I wasn't just messing with her life. There were other people in it, and I was right in the middle of it anyway. Then one night, she told me something that made everything heavier. "I think I'm gonna leave him." And I swear, my stomach dropped. When she said that, I didn't feel happy. That's what I thought I'd feel, right? Like, finally, we can be together, no more hiding. But no. My first thought was, oh shit. I said, "Are you serious?" She nodded. "Yeah, I can't keep doing this. It's not fair to anyone." I asked, "Because of me?" She looked at me for a second. "Not just you." That answer stuck with me. After that, things got tense. Not between us, just everything around it. She'd text me updates like, "We argued again," or "I think he knows something's off." I started feeling this pressure I didn't expect. Like, I wasn't just the guy on the side anymore. I was part of a decision that was about to blow up her whole life. One night, she called me, crying. "I told him I'm not happy," she said. I just sat there, listening. She goes, "He asked if there's someone else." I felt my chest tighten. I asked, "What did you say?" She paused. I said no. That messed with my head. Not because I expected honesty, but hearing it like that, I don't know. It felt ugly. A few weeks later, she told me she asked for a divorce. Just like that. No big speech, no drama in the way she said it. Just, "I told him I'm done." I didn't know what to say, so I said, "Are you okay?" She laughed a little. "I don't know." After that, everything moved fast. She started packing, looking for a place, talking about lawyers and schedules for her son. Real life stuff. And I was just there, watching it happen. Sometimes she'd come over after dealing with all that, exhausted. One time she sat on my couch and just stared at the wall. I said, "You good?" She goes, I feel like a terrible person. I didn't answer right away, because same. But I still pulled her closer, like that somehow made it better. Eventually, she moved out, got a small apartment, not far from me. First night there, I helped her carry boxes. It was quiet. No jokes, no flirting, just heavy. At one point she said, "This is weird." I said, "Yeah." She looked around and goes, "I thought I'd feel relieved." I asked, "Do you?" She shook her head. "Not really." That should have been a sign, but a few days later, we were basically together. Official, I guess. No more hiding, no more sneaking around. We could go out, sit in public, do normal couple stuff. And for a while, it actually felt good. Like, this is what all that was for. But then the other thoughts started creeping in. Quiet at first, then louder. And they didn't go away. At first, it felt like we made it. We could actually go out together, sit at a restaurant, not worry about who's watching. She'd stay over, leave her stuff at my place. Normal couple things. And for a bit, I was like, okay, maybe this was worth it. But it didn't last. The thoughts started creeping in. Quiet at first, like when she'd leave her phone face down, or when she'd take a text and step into the other room. Nothing obvious, nothing real, but my brain would go, yeah, I know how this starts. One night I asked her, kind of joking but not really, "You're not talking to someone else, right?" She looked at me like, "Seriously?" I said, "I'm just asking." She got annoyed. "After everything, you think I'd do that?" I didn't even answer, because, yeah, that's exactly what I think. Not because I want to, just because I've seen it happen. I was part of it. Another thing that hits me is her son. She doesn't talk about him much around me, but sometimes she'll say, "I'm picking him up," or "He's staying with his dad this week." And every time, I feel this weird guilt in my chest, like I helped mess up his life. I've never even met him. And honestly, I don't know if I want to. What would I even be? The guy who showed up and everything fell apart? One time I brought it up. I said, "Do you ever think about all of it?" She knew what I meant. She sighed and said, "Yeah, but it was already broken." I asked, "Are you sure?" She didn't answer right away, just said, "I don't want to go back there." That's her way of shutting it down. But I can't. I keep thinking about her husband too. Some guy who probably had no idea what was happening. And yeah, maybe their marriage wasn't great. I don't know. But I know what we did. And now I'm sitting here with the person I thought I wanted more than anything. And I don't trust her. Not fully. I love her. I actually do. Being with her feels right in a lot of ways. But there's always this voice in my head like, "You're not special. If she could lie to him like that, why not me?" I catch myself overthinking everything, small stuff, and I hate it. Because I chose this. No one forced me. And now I don't know if I ruined a family for something that's gonna fall apart anyway. She talks about future plans sometimes, trips, moving in together, and I just nod. But in my head, I'm like, what happens when I'm the husband she's tired of?
If you like this story, you'll find more like it on my channel.